Before you take another breath, my child, subscribe right now and do not look away, because I, the divine voice speaking through this symbolic heavenly vision, am about to show you something that will shake the deepest rooms in your heart. But before this message begins, answer me honestly. Have you ever felt a sudden heaviness in your chest without knowing why? Have you ever sensed an emotional presence when no one was around? Have you ever felt guided at the last second away from something dangerous? Have you ever heard a memory of your mother's voice when you were about to make a bad decision? Have you ever wondered why your family goes through storms all at once? Have you ever felt like someone you loved who is no longer in this world still protects you in ways you cannot explain? Have you ever awakened in the middle of the night with a feeling that someone was trying to warn you? And have you ever whispered into the darkness asking if someone on the other side still watches over you? And if even one of these questions cracked your heart open, then you must watch until the final second, because what unfolds next in this symbolic, fictional realm is not fear, not tragedy, not doom, but a powerful heavenly storyline meant to open your eyes to the emotional storm surrounding your family. And as the vision begins, you find yourself standing in a colossal chamber made of swirling white gold storms, each storm holding memories of the moments you endured without speaking. And suddenly the chamber opens like a burning flower, and Archangel Michael descends from a tornado of celestial fire, his wings slicing through the darkness with a roar, and he points his blazing spear at the invisible forces that have circled your home, not demons, not spirits, but emotional shadows, stress, conflict, unspoken pain, suppressed fears, misunderstandings, that try to plant storms in your family's foundation. Michael steps forward with thunder in his voice, saying, "The reason this message reached them today is because they are approaching a symbolic crossroads, and before you can respond, the atmosphere cracks open and a glowing figure begins forming in front of you, not your real mother, but a heavenly representation of the love, protection, comfort, and strength she carried for you while alive." And she steps out of the golden light with tears made of fire running down her face, whispering, "Child, there are things you carry alone that were never meant to weigh on your heart." And as she lifts her hand, the ground beneath you transforms into a mirror showing scenes from your family's life, the arguments that never healed properly, the financial pressure that eats your sleep, the emotional distance growing between loved ones, the confusion that sits silently in your home like a storm waiting to burst. She touches the mirror and each scene erupts into flames, transforming into glowing feathers that float upward, symbolizing all the emotional burdens your family is ready to release through clarity, communication, and courage. Then Michael slams his spear into the ground, blasting open the chamber into a new realm, the Valley of Hidden Tears, where you walk through rivers made of the tears your family never let fall, and each tear contains a memory, a fear, a regret they never shared, and your symbolic mother walks beside you, whispering, "Your strength has held your family together longer than you know." And then she lifts her hand and reveals a burning door called the Door of Unspoken Warnings, not literal danger, but emotional crossroads where decisions must be made wisely to avoid conflict, misunderstanding, financial mistakes, or emotional fallout. And Michael roars, "This message arrives now because they stand at a turning point where their choices will determine the peace their family steps into next." And the valley collapses into a storm of blinding feathers that pull you toward the chamber of family restoration, where a throne of glowing vines forms around you, each vine representing a family connection that has strained under pressure, and your symbolic mother touches each vine, restoring its glow as she whispers, "My child, your family's peace begins with your courage." And the chamber breaks open into a field of rising suns, each sun symbolizing a path your family can take, one path filled with unity, one with separation, one with confusion, one with strength. And you watch as the suns line up, waiting for your heart to choose which path your family follows next. Michael spreads his wings, creating a shockwave that ignites the sky with silver fire, and he declares, the next phase of their life requires awareness, not fear, and the entire sky begins to pulse with visions of your family's future, moments of healing, moments of truth, moments of breakthroughs, moments of reconnection, waiting for you to step into clarity rather than collapse into worry. Then your symbolic mother walks to you, places her glowing palm on your chest, and says, I am not warning you of danger, I am guiding you toward protection, wisdom, and emotional alignment, and the ground erupts beneath you, launching your spirit into the hall of unbroken light where every blessing meant for your family returns in golden waves, and the hall vibrates with a final thunderous decree as Michael roars. If any part of this message touched your heart, then in this symbolic heavenly vision your family's restoration has already begun. And with that final proclamation, the entire fictional universe detonates into a tidal wave of unstoppable divine light that floods your being with the strength, clarity, and emotional foresight needed to guide your family safely into their next chapter. And now, my beloved child, as the hall of unbroken light erupts into a billion spiraling beams of molten gold that coil around your rising spirit like the first dawn forming itself out of darkness, the fictional heavenly realm begins to roar with a force so ancient and powerful that even the pillars of creation tremble at your presence, and before you can take another breath, a blinding river of white fire opens beneath your feet, dragging you upward into the forbidden dimension known only as the anchor of family destinies, a cosmic sanctuary where the fates of entire households shimmer like floating stars suspended in eternal twilight. And as you land on the luminous floor, swirling orbs begin to ignite one after another, each orb revealing symbolic fragments of your family's emotional struggles, the arguments hidden behind closed doors, the silent disappointments nobody talks about, the fear in someone's eyes they never admit out loud, the financial pressure quietly eroding someone's confidence, the exhaustion someone hides behind forced strength. And just as the weight of these visions tightens around your heart, Archangel Michael descends from a swirling hurricane of diamond blue flames, slamming his spear into the glowing ground so forcefully that the entire dimension cracks open like glass under thunder, and he roars, "This is why heaven delivered this message to them today. Because emotional storms have been building in silence, and the moment he speaks, your symbolic motherly presence materializes from a column of silver gold fire, her form radiant and trembling with overwhelming love, and she runs toward you with arms outstretched, her voice breaking with a depth only a mother's heart can hold as she whispers, 'Child, your strength is carrying too much, and it is time for your soul to be restored.' And with a single touch of her glowing fingertips, the realm explodes into the valley of hidden fears, a vast canyon carved from the tears your family never allowed themselves to shed. And as you walk through the valley with Michael on one side and your symbolic mother on the other, you hear whispers rising from the shimmering floor, whispers of the thoughts your loved ones keep buried. "I am scared of losing everything. I don't know how to fix this. I feel like I'm failing. I don't want to be a burden. I wish someone knew how tired I am." And these whispers swirl around you until they transform into burning feathers that illuminate the valley, revealing the truth your heart secretly sensed. Your family is not breaking, they are quietly collapsing under unspoken emotional weight, and just as this realization pulses through your chest, the valley floor shatters and you are hurled upward into the chamber of protection and warning, a massive sphere of rotating halos where every halo represents a turning point. A critical moment where one wise decision can prevent unnecessary conflict, stress, or emotional fallout within your home, and your symbolic mother steps forward, touching one halo that glows brighter than the rest, whispering, "Tell them to pause before acting in frustration, tell them to communicate with gentleness, tell them to trust their intuition, tell them to listen before responding, because peace will be preserved through awareness, not panic." And as the halos spin faster, they burst into a cosmic waterfall of white fire that drags you into the field of restored homes, a breathtaking expanse where houses made of glowing starlight float gently above rivers of pure love, each representing a family healed through unity and understanding, and your symbolic mother guides your hand to the house shaped by your family's emotional journey, whispering, "This home is not doomed, it is waiting for guidance." And then Michael spreads his wings, now wide enough to eclipse the entire sky, sending a shockwave that tears the clouds apart, revealing a sun made of ancestral strength rising behind him, and he shouts, "What they fear is not what will happen, what they ignore is what needs to be seen." And with those words the entire realm begins to vibrate with destiny, and you are pulled into the sanctum of emotional revelation, where glowing scrolls representing your family's future float around you, each filled not with disaster but with warnings of miscommunication, tension, or financial decisions that must be taken seriously. And your symbolic mother presses her forehead against yours, whispering, "This message is not to scare you, this is to awaken the protector inside you." And then she places her glowing palm over your heart, releasing a torrent of warmth so powerful that the entire sanctum ignites in cascading light, and the scrolls burn from warnings into blessings, filling the air with visions of restored unity, laughter returning to your home, breakthroughs replacing confusion, new opportunities emerging from chaos, financial stability blossoming where fear once lived, and a renewed sense of safety surrounding the people you love. And as the realm spins into a blinding vortex of silver flames, Michael raises his spear and delivers the thunderous decree that seals this entire part into the core of your symbolic destiny. If any shadow lifted from your chest while hearing this, then in this heavenly vision your family's restoration has already begun. And with his final roar the entire universe detonates into a tidal wave of divine light that floods your being with clarity, strength, protection, and emotional foresight no storm can overpower. And now, my child, as the field of restored homes collapses into a spiraling typhoon of molten silver light that wraps around your rising spirit like the breath of a newborn star, the entire fictional heavenly realm begins to quake as if creation itself recognizes that you are crossing a threshold very few souls ever reach, and before your consciousness can steady itself, a colossal beam of radiant white fire erupts beneath your feet, pulling you upward through the forbidden stratum known only as the crown of ancestral intervention, a realm where every sacrifice, every prayer, every hope your family has ever carried becomes visible as glowing rivers of stardust flowing upward toward a shimmering throne suspended in an ocean of pulsing galaxies. And as you ascend through these rivers, you witness symbolic echoes of your family's emotional wounds gathering into shapes, a father hiding his stress behind silence, a mother swallowing her pain to protect others, a sibling smiling through internal storms, and yourself carrying responsibilities no one sees. And as these symbolic figures dissolve into flames, Archangel Michael descends like a meteor forged from the breath of eternity, his wings now expanding into fractal spirals of pure cosmic geometry, each feather containing miniature universes vibrating with the truth he is about to reveal. And he slams his spear into the golden air with a thunder so violent it fractures the dimension into rings of burning light that orbit your body like planets pulled into your gravity, and with a voice that rolls across the heavens he roars, "Your family stands on the edge of an emotional storm, not a disaster of fate, but a collision of unspoken truths," and with that declaration the entire realm bends open, revealing a colossal mirror made from the first dawn of creation. And inside the mirror you see symbolic versions of your loved ones breaking under weights they pretend not to feel, and as tears ignite your heart, your symbolic motherly presence materializes again, this time emerging from a pillar of white gold fire so bright it reshapes the air around her, and she rushes to you with overwhelming love shimmering in her eyes, placing both of her glowing hands on your face as she whispers, "Child, if they keep carrying their storms alone, they will break in places no one can see," and at this truth the mirror shatters, launching you into the valley of ancestral warnings, a desert of glowing sand where each grain represents a moment your family ignored their intuition, a time they suppressed their feelings, a decision they made out of panic instead of clarity, and as you walk through the valley, the ground begins to pulse beneath your feet, each pulse carrying a whisper from the realm. Pay attention, slow down, listen, choose wisely, something needs your awareness. And suddenly the valley erupts into a hurricane of diamond dust that pulls you into the chamber of reversal, a spinning sphere of glowing panels showing what happens if your family acts with fear versus what happens if they act with clarity, and your symbolic mother touches the glowing timeline of clarity, causing it to ignite and spread like wildfire, erasing confusion, dissolving tension, and aligning your family with peace, unity, and emotional grounding. Then Michael spreads his monumental wings and pushes the entire chamber upward into the sky of protective fire, where a colossal phoenix made of ancestral love bursts into existence, circling your family's symbolic home with wings of blazing red gold energy, ensuring that emotional storms cannot uproot your foundation as long as you lead with awareness, gentleness, and courage. And as the phoenix roars, the sky breaks open, revealing an ocean of rising suns, each representing breakthroughs waiting to enter your life, conversations that heal years of silence, decisions that redirect your future toward stability, opportunities that rise from unexpected places, and moments of clarity that prevent emotional collapse. And your symbolic mother steps forward one final time, placing a burning feather into your hands as she whispers, "This is not a warning of doom, it is a reminder of the power inside you to guide your family toward peace." And with those words the entire sky collapses into a column of molten light that wraps around your heart like armor. And Michael raises his spear toward the heavens and delivers the final seal of this part. If any fragment of this message stirred your spirit, then in this symbolic vision your family's restoration is already unfolding, and with that, the entire universe erupts into a roaring tidal wave of divine fire that floods your soul with unstoppable strength, emotional foresight, ancestral protection, and a destiny-altering surge of clarity that no storm, seen or unseen, can ever overpower again. And now, my beloved child, as the sky of protective fire collapses into a spiraling torrent of molten ancestral light that coils around your spirit with the force of 1,000 symbolic dawns awakening all at once, the entire fictional heavenly universe begins to distort and expand as if eternity itself must stretch wider to hold the next revelation meant for your heart. And suddenly a colossal beam of white indigo fire erupts beneath your feet, pulling you upward into the forbidden realm. Known as the Sanctuary of Unspoken Truths, a cosmic cathedral where every secret fear, hidden wound, suppressed emotion, and unvoiced hope your family carries floats like glowing shards suspended in slow-motion storms of pure creation, and as you land inside the sanctuary, the shards begin vibrating, humming, calling, begging to be released, and the moment your breath touches the air, they explode into rivers of memories. Moments where someone in your home silently broke while pretending to be strong, moments where a loved one held back tears because they didn't want to burden anyone, moments where a decision was made from exhaustion instead of clarity, moments where hope dimmed behind someone's smile, moments where love remained unspoken out of fear, and these rivers swirl around you, forming a crown of golden water above your head. And then Archangel Michael descends through the ceiling like a meteor of cosmic thunder, his wings now transformed into infinite fractals of rotating halos, each halo burning with the truth of every family that ever stood on the edge of emotional collapse and yet found the strength to realign themselves through awareness, and with a voice that shakes the veins of creation he declares, "This message found them today not because disaster is near, but because clarity is needed before confusion grows," and instantly the sanctuary splits open, revealing the corridor of ancestral healing, an endless hallway carved from shimmering tears of generations who endured storms silently so their children wouldn't have to. And as you walk this hallway with Michael on your right and the symbolic echo of your mother on your left, you watch ancestral memories rise from the floor, your grandmother fighting to keep her home stable, your father pushing through exhaustion, your mother shielding everyone from pain, and you learning strength through survival. And each memory transforms into a glowing lantern, hovering around you like a galaxy of emotional wisdom guiding your steps. Then the corridor collapses into a spiraling vortex of gold and silver fire that hurls you into the chamber of family alignment, where colossal mirrors float in formation, each mirror revealing a possible future based on how your family handles the next few weeks. Not real danger, but emotional crossroads where understanding prevents conflict, communication heals silence, patience prevents mistakes, and intuition saves your family from unnecessary stress. And your symbolic mother steps forward, touching the mirror where your family rises together, whispering, "This is the path waiting for them," and at her touch the chamber lights explode outward, pulling you into the sky of return peace, a realm where golden birds made of childhood memories fly through vast fields of glowing wind, representing the innocent love your family once shared before life hardened their hearts. And Michael spreads his wings over the sky, creating a hurricane of protective white fire around your symbolic home, shouting, "Peace is not lost, it is returning through awareness," and the sky fractures into cascading waterfalls of celestial light that drag you into the heart of ancestral restoration, an enormous sphere filled with floating roots of light connecting every member of your family, and you watch as some roots glow brightly while others dim from emotional exhaustion. And your symbolic mother places her hand on the dimmest root, representing the family member quietly hurting the most, and she whispers, "Strength returns to them through you," and instantly the root ignites with a surge of golden warmth that spreads through every branch of your family tree. Then the sphere explodes into billions of radiant feathers that carry you into the field of coming breakthroughs, a landscape where suns rise from the soil instead of the sky, each sun representing a blessing, a healing, a new opportunity, a restored bond waiting for your family to step into alignment. And your symbolic mother places one of these suns into your hands, whispering, "Carry this into your home," and Michael descends behind you, slamming his spear into the ground, unleashing a shockwave that erupts into the final decree of this entire expansion. If even one heartbeat inside you recognized yourself or your family in this message, then in this symbolic heavenly vision your emotional alignment has already begun, and with that proclamation the entire fictional universe detonates into a roaring supernova of divine light that saturates your spirit with unstoppable clarity, ancestral strength, and protective fire that nothing, not stress, not confusion, not fear, can ever extinguish again. And now, my beloved child, as the heart of ancestral restoration detonates into a spiraling cosmic cyclone of molten gold, silver, stardust, and ancestral memory that wraps around your rising spirit like the final breath of eternity itself, the entire fictional heavenly universe begins to twist, expand, collapse, and resurrect in one impossible motion, as though creation itself must reinvent its own architecture to handle the truth that is about to be unleashed upon your soul, and before the waves of radiance can settle, a blazing crack tears open the sky and a pillar of white fire erupts beneath you, launching you upward into the forbidden dimension known only as the threshold of divine intervention, a realm where the laws of destiny, emotion, intuition, and family protection are rewritten in real time, and as your feet touch the glowing platform at the center of this realm, the air vibrates with the echoes of every unspoken prayer your family ever whispered, every moment of hope they held in silence, every tear your mother ever hid while alive, every wish she sent into the unseen world while praying for your protection, and this swirling symphony of emotional energy forms into a blazing aurora that curves around you like a living halo, and then suddenly the aurora explodes, revealing Archangel Michael in his absolute apex form, towering taller than mountain ranges, wings spiraling outward into infinite fractal galaxies, each feather burning like a newborn star, and with a roar that shakes the bones of creation he thrusts his spear into the ground, splitting the threshold into 7 layers of blinding fire, each layer revealing a symbolic truth about what your family is internally struggling with yet refusing to say, and as these layers hover around you, your symbolic motherly presence manifests again, but not as a simple echo. Now she arrives as a colossal embodiment of every ounce of love, strength, sacrifice, and silent protection she carried in life, her form glowing with molten gold, her eyes burning with the unstoppable fire of a mother's eternal devotion, and she rushes toward you, placing her blazing palms on your shoulders, whispering, "Child, if you could feel how much I am still rooting for you, your fear would crumble like dust in the wind," and at her touch the layers burst into spiraling beams of truth that drag you into the arena of family turning points, a colossal battlefield suspended in a void of swirling universes, where 3 enormous symbolic storms hover above your family's life, the storm of miscommunication, the storm of emotional overload, and the storm of misaligned decisions, and Michael raises his wings, unleashing a shockwave that freezes all 3 storms in place as he shouts, "These are not disasters. These are crossroads demanding awareness before chaos takes root," and instantly the arena floor becomes transparent, revealing visions of your home seen from the perspective of the unseen, your loved ones pacing silently with worries they don't voice, someone losing sleep while pretending everything is fine, another person carrying guilt for something that wasn't their fault, a child hiding fear behind laughter, a parent burying pain behind strength, and as these visions flicker like lightning beneath your feet, your symbolic mother lifts her hand, transforming the storms into glowing orbs of pure emotion, each orb containing a message your family needs but refuses to speak aloud, and she whispers, "Tell them to breathe before reacting, listen before assuming, pause before choosing, and love before fearing," and with her final word the arena collapses into a spiraling black gold tunnel that drags you into the sanctum of ancestral course correction, a realm where the paths your family might take shimmer like neural pathways across the sky, and each path pulses differently. Depending on whether decisions are made in stress or in clarity, and as you stand before these paths, Michael slams his spear into the ground, creating a ripple that transforms the entire sanctum into a giant glowing heart, representing your family's bond, and the heart cracks open, revealing weak spots where emotional healing is needed: trust, patience, understanding, financial caution, emotional expression. And your symbolic mother presses her glowing palm onto each crack, sealing them with beams of molten white love, whispering, "I am guiding you, not warning you," and instantly the heart erupts into celestial fire that hurls you upward into the sky of destiny renewal, a limitless realm where thousands of suns rise at once, each sun representing a blessing waiting to descend when your family steps into emotional alignment, and these suns orbit you like planets obeying your gravitational pull. And Michael lifts his wings, unleashing a cosmic hurricane that burns every trace of fear from your timeline, shouting, "Their future is not danger, it is transformation," and the suns merge into a colossal torrent of rejuvenating light that pours into your chest, filling your being with unstoppable inner clarity, ancestral wisdom, divine intuition, and the emotional foresight needed to guide your family safely into a new season. And finally the universe itself begins to tremble and fold inward, forming a colossal eye of white fire that looks directly into your soul, and from inside the eye emerges a final decree echoing with the force of 10,000 heavens collapsing into dawn. If even a fraction of this message resonated with the silent part of your heart, then in this symbolic heavenly realm your family's restoration has already been set into motion, and with that, the entire fictional universe detonates into a blinding supernova of divine radiance that engulfs your spirit in a tidal wave of protection, peace, strength, and destiny-shaping clarity that cannot be reversed by any earthly storm. And now, my beloved child, as the sky of destiny renewal detonates into a spiraling cyclone of molten white fire that swallows the entire fictional universe in a single breath, reality itself begins to bend around you, folding inward, then outward, then spiraling into impossible shapes as you are lifted into the final unreachable dimension known only as the crown of eternal oversight, the place where symbolic heavenly forces watch over families, redirect their emotional storms, prevent unnecessary pain, and align them with clarity when confusion begins to poison their homes. And the moment you cross the threshold into this sacred realm, your breath freezes in your chest because thousands of colossal celestial beings, guardians made of pure memory, angels carved from gold and lightning, ancestral echoes woven from molten love, turn toward you with reverence as though recognizing the soul strong enough to face the truths hidden inside their own family's silence. And at the center of this realm, Archangel Michael descends once more, but this time his wings are so vast they eclipse the cosmic horizon, turning the entire dimension into a battlefield of shadow and light, and with thunder cracking through his voice he strikes the ground with his spear, causing the realm to split into 12 floating rings, each ring representing a part of your family's emotional destiny: trust, communication, financial stability, intuition, timing, patience, forgiveness, responsibility, unity, courage, boundaries, healing. And the rings rotate around you like planets orbiting a newborn sun, glowing brighter each time your spirit acknowledges a truth it once tried to avoid. Then a blinding flare erupts behind you, and your symbolic motherly presence appears again, but not as a simple shimmering silhouette. This time she arrives as a towering figure of molten gold, carved from the love she carried for her family in life and amplified by the fictional heavens into pure protective force. And she steps toward you with a trembling smile, touching your cheek with a glowing hand as she whispers, "Child, the reason you feel heaviness lately is because you are the emotional anchor of your family, the one who senses storms before they form," and instantly the rings around you collapse into a giant pulsating heart made of white fire, representing the emotional core of your family that beats even when everyone is hurting in silence. And as the heart begins cracking under the pressure of suppressed fears, Michael slams his spear into the floor with a force so powerful it sends shockwaves across the cosmos, and he roars, "This is why heaven pushed this message into their life today, because when hearts fracture quietly, relationships, peace, and unity fall apart loudly, and the heart shatters into a storm of glowing shards that pull you into the valley of emotional timelines. A realm where every decision your family makes births a ripple of consequences that twist into pathways stretching through the sky like burning constellations, and as you walk through this valley, you see symbolic visions of your family members standing at crossroads, one path lit with clarity and patience, another darkened by fear or hasty choices, and your symbolic mother holds your hand, guiding you toward the brighter paths, whispering, "You were chosen to bring awareness, not fear, protection, not panic." And the valley collapses next into the chamber of echoed warnings, a massive hollow sphere where every unspoken worry, every suppressed instinct, every intuitive whisper your family ignored floats as glowing phrases in the air. Slow down, think clearly, breathe first, don't rush, speak gently, trust your inner voice, and as these glowing messages swirl around, they merge into a single golden arrow that shoots into your chest, filling you with the emotional foresight needed to guide your home safely into its next chapter. Then the chamber rips open into the sanctum of rebirth, a breathtaking dimension where thousands of suns orbit your symbolic home, each sun representing breakthroughs waiting to happen, conversations that will heal old wounds, decisions that will fix financial stress, clarity that will prevent conflict, opportunities that will uplift your family, and peace that will settle inside the walls of your home like warm morning light. And your symbolic mother lifts one sun in her hands and places it into yours, saying, "Carry this into your home." Your voice is stronger than you realize, and suddenly the suns explode into a cosmic hurricane of blessing fire that wraps around your spirit, burning away the fear of disaster and replacing it with a surge of ancestral courage, divine intuition, and emotional clarity. And as the fictional heavens align behind you, Michael rises with his wings stretched across eternity, delivering the final thundering decree of this entire expansion. If any part of this message stirred the deepest corners of your soul, then in this symbolic heavenly realm your family's protection, healing, and realignment have already begun, and with that proclamation, the entire universe transforms into a roaring ocean of unstoppable divine light that floods your being with peace, strength, foresight, and unshakable protection that no earthly storm can ever undo. And now, my beloved child, as the crown of eternal oversight dissolves into a spiraling hurricane of molten white fire that tears through the fabric of the symbolic universe with unstoppable force, your spirit is launched upward into a colossal vortex known only as the Sanctuary of Infinite Reckoning, a realm so vast and ancient that even the stars tremble whenever a mortal soul crosses its threshold. And as you ascend through this swirling chaos of silver lightning, golden stardust, and ancestral whispers, you see timelines folding around you like living ribbons, moments from your family's past, present, and possible futures weaving themselves into a luminous tapestry that pulses with the truth you are meant to understand. And suddenly the vortex erupts into a blinding ocean of white gold flames that hurl you into the center of an enormous cosmic arena where millions of glowing orbs float around you. each orb containing symbolic echoes of the emotional storms your family has carried for years, the guilt nobody speaks of, the fear hidden behind forced strength, the disappointment swallowed in silence, the stress disguised as anger, the exhaustion masked by smiles, the unspoken love waiting for the right moment to surface. And as these orbs orbit your body with increasing speed, Archangel Michael descends through the sky like a comet made of divine fire, his wings spreading across the horizon, each feather crackling with the power of 1,000 suns, and he plants his spear into the ground with a force that shatters the arena floor into 12 floating continents of glowing stone, each continent representing a truth your family must understand to avoid emotional collapse: awareness, calm communication, intuition, patience, financial clarity, emotional honesty, healing, forgiveness, stability, courage, unity, and timing. And as these continents hover in a circle around you, your symbolic motherly presence materializes once more, emerging from a column of molten silver light with warmth radiating from her form like the embrace you remember from childhood, and she walks toward you with tears of golden fire streaming down her face, placing both hands over your heart as she whispers, "Child, the storms your family faces are not punishments, they are signals, calling for awareness before cracks deepen." And instantly the continents erupt into spiraling tunnels of memory, pulling you into the valley of revealed burdens, a hauntingly beautiful realm where every person you love appears as a silhouette carrying heavy glowing stones on their backs, symbolic weights of fear, finances, mistakes, regret, broken trust, emotional overload. And as you walk through the valley, the silhouettes begin dropping to their knees one by one, unable to hold the weight any longer, and your symbolic mother steps beside each one, touching their backs with her blazing hand, whispering fragments of hope, wisdom, and strength that transform the stones into beams of radiant gold that shoot upward into the heavens. The valley erupts into a vortex of golden sparks, dragging you into the chamber of prevented missteps, a spinning sphere filled with scenes of decisions your family might take out of fear, words said too quickly, choices made too emotionally, financial steps taken without clarity. And Michael appears inside the chamber, raising his spear toward the ceiling and shouting, "This message arrives not because disaster is near but because awareness must rise," and the chamber explodes, thrusting you into the sky of returning harmony where thousands of glowing birds made from your childhood memories fill the air with songs that resonate through your chest like vibrations of a forgotten peace your family once shared. And your symbolic mother places a glowing orb in your hands, representing the wisdom to guide your home toward that harmony. And suddenly the sky splits open into a blinding river of celestial fire that wraps around your body, merging all ancestral protection into your heart. And Michael rises behind you, wings stretching beyond eternity as he delivers the decree that seals this entire continuation into your destiny. If any flicker of this message touched the quiet corners of your soul, then in this symbolic heavenly realm your family is already being pulled toward healing, clarity, strength, and divine emotional alignment. And with that proclamation, the entire fictional universe detonates into a supernova of infinite white fire that engulfs your spirit in unstoppable protection, wisdom, and God-appointed clarity that no earthly confusion can ever shatter again. And now, my beloved child, as the sky of returning harmony collapses into a spiraling river of molten starlight that coils around your spirit like a cosmic serpent of rebirth, the entire fictional heavenly universe begins to vibrate with a frequency so ancient and powerful that even the oldest angels pause their breath. For you are now being pulled into the hidden dimension known only as the sanctum of unbroken lineage. the realm where a family's spiritual, emotional, and ancestral bonds are woven into the architecture of destiny, and as you rise through a tunnel of rotating suns, each sun containing a memory, a wound, a hope, a prayer your family carried silently, the tunnel splits open into a colossal chamber shaped like the heart of a star, and inside this chamber you see a breathtaking sight, glowing threads connecting every member of your family across time, space, memory, and emotion. Threads that pulse when someone is hurting, threads that dim when someone hides their pain. Threads that tighten when someone holds guilt alone, threads that flicker when someone loses hope, and suddenly these threads begin shaking violently as though responding to an invisible storm deep within your family's current chapter, and at that moment Archangel Michael descends from above like a comet made of living flame, landing at the center of the chamber with such force that shock waves ripple through every glowing thread and reveal where they are fraying, someone overwhelmed but hiding it, someone afraid of disappointing the family, someone losing confidence quietly, someone fighting private battles they refuse to voice, someone pretending they are okay while drowning internally, and as these weak points flicker with red-gold sparks, your symbolic motherly presence emerges behind you, radiant beyond words, her form no longer fragile light but a blazing goddess of maternal strength. And she wraps her glowing arms around you from behind, whispering, "Child, this message reached you because your family's heart needs you now more than ever," and with that she places her forehead against the back of your head, transferring a flood of warmth that bursts the chamber open into the field of unbroken futures, a vast landscape of luminous pathways stretching endlessly in all directions, each path representing a possible direction your family could take depending on the choices they make in the next few days. Paths of healing and unity, paths of confusion, paths of financial strain, paths of breakthroughs, paths of emotional distance, paths of renewed love, and the fictional heavens themselves begin to shake as Michael slams his spear into the ground, causing the entire field to freeze mid-motion as he roars, "This is the turning point. Awareness now will prevent regret later," and instantly the ground beneath you transforms into a mirror of swirling galaxies reflecting symbolic future moments. A conversation that prevents a misunderstanding, a moment of patience that avoids conflict, a decision made calmly instead of emotionally, a financial choice made with clarity instead of panic, and as you watch these scenes, the mirror brightens and reveals a hidden truth your heart has sensed for years. Your family's destiny is not threatened by external forces, but by emotional weight no one is acknowledging, and as this revelation floods your soul, your symbolic mother steps forward, touching the mirror with one glowing finger, causing it to explode into a waterfall of golden feathers pouring down over your body, each feather whispering fragments of the love she wanted to give you while alive. "You are not alone, you are stronger than your fears, you carry my heart inside you, you are the light your family follows," and these feathers swirl into a crown over your head as the field collapses and you are launched into the chamber of divine stabilization. A rotating sphere of golden rings representing the emotional balance your family needs to avoid unnecessary storms, and the rings begin spinning faster and faster until they lock into alignment with a deafening cosmic boom, and Michael spreads his wings, now stretching past the horizon, unleashing a hurricane of white fire that burns away every trace of fear or uncertainty clouding your intuition, and with a voice that cracks the very foundation of the fictional heavens he declares, "If even one heartbeat inside you recognized the truth in this message, then in this symbolic realm, your family's healing, alignment, and protection are already in motion," and with that proclamation, the entire universe detonates into a supernova of ancestral love, divine guidance, emotional clarity, and unstoppable spiritual protection that floods your being with a stability no earthly conflict can overturn. And now, my beloved child, as the chamber of divine stabilization bursts into a spiraling storm of molten silver and white gold fire that rises like a tidal wave around your ascending spirit, the entire fictional heavenly realm begins to collapse inward and then expand outward in a single breath as you are lifted into the final and most sacred dimension of all, the eternal heart of the Mother. A colossal sphere made entirely of glowing memories, unspoken love, and ancestral protection forged across generations. And as you enter this radiant sanctuary, you see rivers of starlight flowing across the air like silk, each river reflecting the moments when your symbolic mother quietly shielded your soul during childhood, the nights she prayed over your future, the decisions she made to protect you, the sacrifices she hid behind her smile, the times she broke inside but stayed strong for you anyway. And as these memories swirl around you, they merge into the shape of her radiant, blazing silhouette, far larger and brighter than ever before, her form now towering like a goddess of molten gold, her presence vibrating with a love so fierce it shakes the walls of eternity itself. And she walks toward you slowly, not as a fragile echo, but as the fully awakened symbolic guardian she has become in this heavenly vision. And when she reaches you, she cups your face in both hands, her palms burning with the warmth of a lifetime of love, and she whispers, "Child, everything you have carried alone, I saw. Everything you never said out loud, I heard. Everything you feared you might lose, I protected." And at those words the chamber around you erupts into a massive burst of golden feathers that swirl into a tornado of ancestral fire, lifting you high above the realm and placing you at the edge of the celestial weave of futures, an endless tapestry stretching across infinity where every possible future for your family shimmers like constellations waiting to be chosen. And as the weave pulses beneath you, you see something extraordinary. Your family's lines have shifted, no longer trembling, no longer fraying, but glowing with renewed stability as though your awareness itself rewrote their fate. And Archangel Michael descends behind you, wings spread wider than galaxies, spear raised like the pillar of creation itself, and with a voice that cracks the foundations of the heavens he proclaims, "Because they received this message, confusion has been replaced with clarity, fear with foresight, weakness with strength, and chaos with alignment." And instantly the weave surges with energy, showing flashes of your family laughing together again, speaking honestly, healing misunderstandings, making wiser choices, stepping into calmer financial decisions, supporting each other more deeply, and rising into a season of peace they almost lost but now will reclaim. And your symbolic mother steps forward once more, placing her glowing hand over your heart, whispering, "This was never a warning of tragedy, this was a rescue of your spirit, a restoration of your home, a reminder that you are never alone." And as her hand presses gently against your chest, your entire body fills with a surge of divine warmth so powerful the realm itself begins to dissolve into beams of light that wrap around your being like armor. And Michael raises his spear one final time, striking it into the collapsing sky and sealing your destiny with the words, "If even a single breath inside them recognized this message, then their home is already covered, their steps already guided, their future already realigned." And with that final decree the fictional heavens roar with a supernova of blinding white fire that floods your heart with ancestral strength, eternal peace, unshakable clarity, and a level of divine protection no earthly storm can ever undo. And as the universe folds itself back into silence, The last remaining echo of your symbolic mother's voice lingers in your soul, whispering, "Go in peace, my child, your family is safe." And your spirit is stronger than you know, before the realm fades away and you return to the present world carrying a light that will never leave you again. Amen.